Hello there, and welcome to another video from Change Tips and Tools. And it's me, Phil, the Brummie that hails from Birmingham, England. And today I want to take another subject that I covered in the recent live streams on how to build a project plan in MS Project. And if you want to check out those live streams, the full live stream, then check out the links in the description. Now, what we're going to cover in this video is how you take those work-based estimates or those duration-based estimates that you got from your planning workshops, and how do you put those into MS Project the right way so it understands your thinking based on that. Now, I want to look at it from a work-based or a duration-based perspective. And then once we've done that, we're going to look at the different types of dependencies that you've got in MS Project and the different ways that you can enter a dependency into MS Project, and I will cover many. So let me have a sip of my beer. Well, goes up. Wonderful. Cheers, everybody. And without further ado, let's do this. When you've sat in your workshops, you have talked to people and they've given you estimates. Now, depending on their style and your own style, you may prefer to work with work-based estimates, which is, this is how long I think it's physically going to take somebody to do the work, or you work based on duration-based estimates. So I know it's going to take this long no matter how many people are doing it, for example. So based on those types of estimates, let me show you how you would enter them into MS Project. Yeah. So let me escape out of that. So if we take our main unit, these are duration-based estimates, but however, you'll notice we can't see anywhere to enter our work-based estimates. So I'm going to right-click on duration, insert column, I'm going to type work, and I'm going to select work from the drop down. And there we go. So we can now, let me just move this again over to the right so you can see it. So our main unit, we received all the estimates as fixed durations. Now the default here for work, and you set that. So if I go to file and I go to options and we go to schedule, you can see what the defaults are for duration is days and work is entered in hours. Yeah. So you can see those defaults there. So if I just click cancel that. So for our main unit, duration-based estimates, so the assemble main unit housing is 1 day. So I'm going to enter a 1 there. And the hard disk drive is 2 days. And then I've got 1.5 days. And again, this is all in the materials, the support materials, if you want to follow along. The assemble motherboard is 2.5 days. And the assemble main unit is 1.5 days. And I'm going to hit enter. So those are my fixed duration estimates. Now, you'll notice here that it says 2.5 days as the overall duration. And that's because we've not created any dependencies or any relationships between the tasks. So therefore, project assumes if this was a race, they're all starting at the same time, but this task finishes 2.5 days. So it's the longest task. So therefore, the race or the duration is 2.5 days long. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's look at work-based estimates. So the monitor, we've received work-based estimates. And again, I hope building a project isn't that long, but this is just for demonstration purposes. And if I do build the monitor housing, it's 16 hours. And the electronics is 32 hours. The assembly electronics, that is 26 hours. And assemble monitor is 16 hours. Now, hopefully, if you're following along, you should have at the top there for the monitor 90 hours total. So because it's all these are all tasks that make up the monitor, it's adding all those up or summing them up, as it were. Now the mouse is duration. So I receive duration estimates. So let me put those duration estimates in as well. So that's 1.5 days for the body. And then it's 0.5 days. I mean, who's ever heard of a ball within a mouse? I mean, that's how old I am. When I first started doing this, when we had a mouse for our laptop, it had a ball in, not an optical as it does today as standard. And then finish the mouse electronics. That's going to be 2 days. And then the assemble mouse is going to be 1 day. And then the final work estimates for the keyboard is going to be 12 hours, 16 hours, and I've got another 12 hours. And then assemble keyboard is going to be 12 hours also. And then finally, the assembled computer is going to be 1 day duration. I'm going to hit return. Now, that's how you would enter your work-based estimates or your duration-based estimates. But what you'll notice is that work is not calculating based on the duration, and also the hours don't seem to impact the duration from our work-based estimates, and that's because we're missing part of the equation, which is the unit, i.e., resource, which we'll cover in part 2. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to enter dependencies. So let me get another visual up for you. Let's talk about what dependencies are. So dependencies are a bit like you need to complete this task, or it needs to be completed at the same time before you can either complete your work in the next activity or start that work. So for example, if you've got a house, you need to build the foundations, you need to put the walls on before you can put and then build the walls, and then before you can build the roof. So that's an example of dependencies. Now within MS Project, there are 4 types of dependency. So let's go through each of those. I'm going to sip of water. So the first is finish to start dependency. And again, what I'll do is get my laser pointer going. Just remember this FS, because when we're putting the dependencies in, this is key to remember. So when you're when you open MS Project up, its default is to plan from a start date, okay? And this is the default dependency type for finish to starts, yeah? So that's the default for when you're planning from a start date. Fundamentally, what it means is that the predecessor has to finish before you can start the next task. You've then got start, start, and again, which is SS, and this fundamentally means that the predecessor and the successor have to start at the same time. Okay. You've then got finish to start. I think you meant to say finish to finish, Phil. Anyway, back to the video, which again is a bit like start, start. It means that the predecessor and the successor task in this driving path have to finish at the same time. Now, when you look at start to finish, this is a bit of an odd one. So this is saying that the predecessor has to start before the successor can finish. Does anybody have an idea when would you use this? Because it seems like a bit of a bizarre dependency. Well, the answer is that sometimes you will plan from a start date and you'll get project to give you an idea of when you're going to finish that work. The second is that you'll plan, so that's from left to right, yeah. But then you've got certain projects where you're planning from a deadline. So you need to hit a deadline. So you're planning from right to left based on a finish date. And this is the default dependency type when you're planning from right, i.e. a deadline, to left, and you're trying to work out, well, when do I need to start the project to meet the deadline? So hopefully that makes sense. So again, I'm going to escape out of that, and we'll then start to look at our dependencies. So with that in mind, when we are, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this so we can see the dependency column here, which is called predecessors. You can insert the successors if you want, but we've got the predecessors visible here. So what are our predecessing tasks for dependencies? And one of the things that we look at the main unit is in the workshop, what we're looking at it and how we're going to assemble it, is that fundamentally you can't assemble the main unit until these tasks have been completed first. So the way that we would do that and tell project that information from the workshop is I'm going to go into assemble main unit and go into the predecessor. If you look over on the left here, you can see task IDs or task numbers. And if I go into and type 3, comma 4, which is the assemble hard drive, I do comma. So remember, it's finish start is the default here, and I'm going to do 5, and I'm going to do comma 6, like so, and I'm going to hit return. So you can now see, and obviously the blue shading here denotes what's changing within your plan. And you can see now how all these tasks will be done in parallel, but the final task won't start until they're all finished. Yeah. Now, as far as the monitor, this is going to be a standard waterfall, a bit like the APM diagram. So the way that I'm going to do that is that we're going to do that task. Once we finish that, then we're going to start this one and so on. So I'm going to highlight them all, select them, and on the task ribbon, I'm going to select this link chain icon, and I'm going to link them. And there you can see now it's done that waterfall view in the Gantt chart. Yeah. So let's do the same for the mouse. So again, if I select the mouse and let's select those tasks. Again, I'm going to link them. And there we go. And then finally, I'm going to do the keyboard. And again, I'm just going to link them all. And there we go. Now, imagine that you're in your workshop, and your quality team say to you, right, before you can assemble the computer, we need 2 days, a 2-day duration to check everything and make sure everything is fit for purpose before you assemble the computer. And the way that you would tell project this is by putting a lag in. And this is where knowing the finish start really helps. So the way that I'm going to do that is assemble main computer. So we've got to build the main unit, which is, and again, if I take a step back, is there are schools of thought where it says do not create a dependency against summary tasks. I don't believe that. I believe, don't overuse it, but I think in certain circumstances, it's a really useful functionality in MS projects. So what I'm going to do is I want this to start 2 days after the main unit, the monitor, the mouse, and the keyboard. So because of that quality check that the quality team are doing. So I'm going to enter in the predecessor. I'm going to do 2 for that. I'm going to do finish start. So whenever you're doing any type of calculation with your dependencies, you need to say, well, what dependency type it is. And I'm going to do 2 finish start plus 2D for days. I'm then going to do comma. I'm going to do the next one, which is task 8. So I'm going to do task 8 finish start plus 2 days for that. I'm then going to do a comma to separate the dependencies. So for the next dependency, which is the mouse, I'm going to do task 13 finish start plus 2 days. And then I'm going to do comma, and then finally for the keyboard, which is task 18, type 18, finish start, plus 2 days. And I'm going to hit enter. And there you go. So now it's now moved it to the right based on that dependencies, and it's also incorporated that 2-day lag as well. So the next thing that we went through within the workshops is the team said that as far as the monitor, and this is the technician said, really what we need to make sure of is we need to be at least 80% through the main unit build so that we know there's going to be no changes to the design before we start building the monitor, mouse, and keyboard. So that means what they're saying is we've got to get through 80% of this duration before we start building the monitor, mouse, and keyboard. So let me take a swig of water. How do we tell project that information? Again, we're going to use some calculations in our dependency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the monitor. So task number 2, the main unit, we've got to be 80% of the way through it. So the way that I would do this is I would go task 2, finish start, minus 20% of the total duration. So I'm going to hit return. So now you can see it's moved these activities. So it goes 80%, and then you can see it starts there before it starts building the monitor assembly. Now, you could enter it this way. So if I go to start plus 80% and hit return, it's doing the same thing. I just visually don't like the way this looks on my Gantt chart, so I prefer the finish start view. So let me put that back in. So I'm going to go to finish start, minus 20%, and hit return. And there you go. So I now want to do the same for the mouse and the keyboard. So all I'm going to do is select that predecessor there. I'm going to do it's the same for each one of them. I'm going to do Control Copy to copy it. I'm going to select the mouse there, predecessor, do Control V to paste it, take the keyboard, and I'm going to paste it in there as well, Control V. And as you can see now, again, we've got the shading, and you can see how the tasks have moved. Now, in here, you can see the task that's probably driving the 2-day lag at the moment on here is the mouse assembly here, because it's the longest one. Okay. So once you've done that, I think for me, and I am old school, I believe that you should always have a milestone in your plan, or milestones. And those milestones should represent your product breakdown structure, i.e. the deliverables or the sub-deliverables within your product breakdown structure, or a key decision point within your project as well. I believe a group of activities should end in a milestone. So how do we get milestones into our project plan? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the monitor here, and I'm going to simply hit the insert key. So you can insert other tasks as well within your plan in the same way. So it's inserted a blank row above my monitor. And in here, I'm going to type when main unit assembly is complete. And I'm going to press tab. I'm going to do nothing with the hours, but I'm going to enter 0D within the duration. So when you do that with an MS project, it automatically recognizes it as a milestone. So at the moment, you can see it looks like a normal task. As soon as I hit enter, there you go. It's now a milestone right there. And as far as the dependency, it's got the predecessor is task ID number 7. So I'm going to enter number 7. I don't need to do anything else. I'm going to hit return. And there's that milestone. Now, saying for the monitor, let's put a milestone. So I can right click on the mouse and do insert task as well. And again, same principle, it's inserted it above the mouse, and I'm going to do when monitor assembly is complete. It's interesting. I see people entering milestones, and they put names that mean nothing. You need to make sure that these are probably the things that are going to appear on your stakeholder reports. So make sure that they make sense and they're meaningful to your stakeholders. Yeah. So the predecessor task is task 13. And then the keyboard. So we need to do it for the mouse. So I'm going to do insert again. So when mouse assembly is complete. And again, 0 days. Task ID is 19. Just enter. And then next, let's do the keyboard. So I'm going to again insert task. Type in when keyboard assembly is complete. And we're going to do 0 days again, and the dependency is dependency 25, and I'm going to hit return. And then finally, I want a milestone that represents when my computer is going to be complete. So I'm going to do when computer, so below the assemble computer here, computer assembly, oh, can't type, is complete. Again, 0 days, and that's going to be dependent on task 27. At any point in time, if you can't see all of this, you've got a number of ways that you can change the scale over here. You can right click on it and do zoom and do 3 months or do entire project, or you can do view and select entire project, and it'll make sure it sets the scale based on your entire project, like so. Now, that is where I'm going to end this video, and I even gave you a bonus one on the milestones as well. Now remember, if you want to check out the full live streams, which there are 2, then the links are in the description, and please check out the other videos. I cover Excel as well, SharePoint, Power Apps, lots of other things. We dive into Power Query, lots of critical tools that make any project manager or PMO's life a lot easier. I hope you found this video informative, and I'd like to say cheers to you all, and remember to click that like, subscribe, and smash that notifications button for future content. And as always, I wish you an absolutely wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Please take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video from Change Tips and Tools. Bye bye now.